to the When I Wanted Out talk show. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. My name is Kola-Edun. And on today's episode, we're discussing a story titled, I Needed to Learn How to Communicate to Save My Marriage. Now, this story is about a handsome man that got married to a lady that was a non-Nigerian. He says, or he claims, that he loved his wife, but did not want to give up his lifestyle of partying. He would go out at least 4 nights a week, and the wife kept nagging him about spending more time at home with her and the 2 kids instead of being outside partying and hanging out with his friends and other women. Now, over time, the nagging grew to resentment, and he had asked counsel for what to do about his marriage. He realized that he could not continue his lifestyle and keep a happy home. He had to learn how to communicate with his wife and be more intentional with his family. Now, there's more to this story that you can catch on our social media platforms, so please read up on the details. And to discuss this story with me are 2 fabulous people, newly married, Mr. Ugo, thank you so much for coming, and Mrs. Monachi Obi, thank you so much for coming. So I'm just going to jump in, women first. When you read this story, what was your initial reaction? What were your thoughts about it? What did you just gather up about the story?
So reading the story, I was actually surprised at the ending.
Right.
I didn't think the guy would change, to be honest with you. Just
Yes.
typical, stuff. I thought he'd been doing it for so long, and then he's just going to continue doing it. So the fact that he changed and was like, okay, other people need to take note and kind of follow suit, I was surprised. That's a big step for him.
For him, you don't find many men actually owning up to their mistake and saying that, I made a mistake.
Exactly. And I think in part was because the advice came from his friends, right?
Yes.
So his friends told him, hey, you might be wrong on this issue. And kind of go, because his wife has been telling him for
a while now.
The whole marriage, right?
Yeah, please stop this lifestyle. Let's stay married. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I have different thoughts. Of course, I read the story twice.
Yes.
I was like, okay, this guy is a full Nigerian. So he had to be a Nigerian.
Yeah.
And it was, honestly, was very clear. I think the ending, as you said, is mainly because his friends are probably not based in Nigeria. Because he was in Nigeria. They would say, keep that woman, what's she talking about?
Yeah.
Come on, let's continue to go out. Because the truth is, in Nigeria, probably they look at it like, oh, I'm losing a soldier. So even if they know the right thing to say, they might advise you wrongly, because if they don't go out, and the wife is like, oh, they know you to go out with, let's say, Samson here, and there's Joe. Joe is telling Samson. Samson knows that this is a problem, but he will not want to say it because he's going to lose Joe as his wingman.
Yeah.
So he's going to tell Joe, you know what? Your wife is not saying what she that's not
you're the man of the house.
You're the man of the house.
Yes.
Not like going out is bad. Of course, going out should not be excessive, but I think 4 times it's a bit too much.
It's a bit too much.
So it can't be too much. If your wife starts complaining, then you kind of have to look at it, because for a happy life or happy life, once you're married,
happy wife,
you need a happy home and a happy wife.
Yes.
So I think that's my own part.
Okay, so now let's take the story out of the developed world and say this is Nigeria. Right.
Yeah. That's where it gets interesting.
That's where it gets interesting, because this is where a lot of families, I think, are having issues. First off, I'll ask you, because you're the guy. Would you say a man is ready to get married if he keeps clubbing, partying, womanizing? Is he ready? Is it something he should do?
So there are 3 things you said: clubbing, womanizing, and partying.
Yeah.
So there are 3 different things. There's partying, where you're just going out, go
chilling,
to friends, hang out. And it might turn to drinks, because the problem in Nigeria is there's no outing without a drink.
Yeah.
And that drink would turn to partying, right?
Yes.
So that's partying. While clubbing is more like, we're going to the club, we're going to hang out with friends, proper club setting, right?
Yes.
And womanizing.
But when you go clubbing, don't you end up, sometimes just checking out the babes, and your friends are bringing the babes over to your booth or your table, and you're kind of in the midst of all of that.
Sometimes it happens like that, but you cannot generalize that. Okay, that's the
situation.
Thing. So back to the point is a man ready? It all depends. I feel like if you remove the last part of womanizing, I think the first 2, you can do the first 2 and still be ready for marriage. Well, because no woman wants you to womanize when you're married.
Yes.
You get? So, and any guy that's womanizing when he's married, probably not ready for marriage, right? So I feel like partying and clubbing, it goes hand in hand because Nigerians, don't forget, we probably do all these things also for like a network kind of vibe and setting, right? Where we're networking with people.
Would you agree to that?
So just like now, we're here. If you bring out a bottle, we might be partying technically.
Yes.
Right? Not clubbing. And we probably what brought us here might not necessarily be a clubbing event, just came to hang out and stuff. So I think that's the difference. If you look at the humanizing part, I believe that I'm sure she has a different
I want to hear. I actually want to hear her
I
opinion
believe
on
so.
this.
So we can talk about the womanizing first.
Okay.
That part, needs to be removed. I feel like even if you're dating somebody, right? If you're dating seriously, there shouldn't be any womanizing at that point, right? So if you have someone and you're thinking, okay, I want to marry them or I want to engage them, the womanizing should already be out from your mind at that point because you're with this person and you see a future with them, right? So if you're still doing that, even into your relationship, you're not ready, But there's some people who they're like, okay, when I hit this age or when I do this, I'm just going to turn it off.
Right.
And I think that's more difficult for men because they were used to doing something and then all of a sudden they're not doing it anymore. I think having healthy relationships from get-go, like not dating multiple women, not dating multiple men, I think that's a problem because that way you're kind of encouraging that behavior if you're already dating like 5, 6 women. But if you're only dating like one woman intentionally each time, you won't develop that kind of behavior.
Are you sure? No, isn't this Nigeria?
Yeah, because there's another part where the man might be ready and the woman is also manizing. There's different things.
Yeah, here, I don't know. I don't know the dating scene very well.
Yes.
But I mean, from my own perspective, I'm American, so from my own perspective, yeah, people don't date multiple people like that.
Yes, in America, it's not as common as it is here, where that happens. So now the man has his friends. I want to talk more on the idea of clubbing 4 times a week, right? So abroad, maybe you don't spend as much money as you do here.
Yeah.
You get a couple drinks. It's not like you have to have a table. You can just stand and do. But how do you keep a home if your wife says, I don't want this thing anymore? And you are insisting that this is the life I know. I don't know anything else, right? How do you manage conflict in that situation?
It's simple. There's only one way that is going to be managed. That relationship is going to end very quickly. Because if you do 4 times a week clubbing, that's your proper going out to a club. What's going on is I don't know how you function effectively the next Monday. That means maybe you're retired with a ton of money, but if you're a working class individual, you're going to go broke. Because you will not work effectively and also you'll be spending a ton of money. I feel like clubs in Nigeria are super pricey.
Yes.
I feel like you have to have scheduling for how you go clubbing.
Want to spend the money.
If you're trying to build a family because you're pouring down
a lot of money.
Your future of both yourself and your wife and your kids down the drain. So I think there's only one way it's going to go if it's not resolved positively, where you say, I hope it's down.
I agree, yeah. I do think there's instances, obviously, like let's say it's just a busy week, right? I think if it's every week, it's 4 times a week, that's too much. But if it's like, okay, 1 week, it just so happened that there's a birthday on Thursday, celebratory dinner on Friday, and then Saturday club that we already thought about. So it's like there are circumstances where it can happen, but I don't think it should ever be a pattern.
But would it be a problem if the wife was partying with him? Going clubbing?
I don't think so.
I think so, because it's almost you're taking care of another higher bill. So to me, it's still the same thing.
Taking your wife out.
It's not how you guys will function effectively, only if you're retired, I'm guessing.
Okay, so it's not a lifestyle that is sustainable.
It's not a lifestyle that is sustainable. You from the time and also the amount spent, I don't see how.
Okay, but for me, in Nigeria, you have more of the Nigeria scene, like what happened. How many times on average do you think Nigerian men go out?
Well, that's partying, hanging out, or clubbing.
You see, I can't tell the difference in Nigeria because partying, hanging out, and clubbing is pretty much like the same thing. And then you can throw in the occasional strip clubs. Like if you carry all of that together, how?
So my take is
to have a successful home, how do you balance that?
I think that's okay from you grab your wife with you for some of the hangouts.
Okay.
Because in Nigeria, we believe that the social gathering gets you closer to the work gathering, how you can maybe seal a deal, network. So we feel in Nigeria that it's when I see this guy drinking with me, I want to push his not so his other parts where he's not really on his own, he's not on guard. Because you come to my office, we're sitting on a chair. You might ask me 20 questions, I'll reply you very formal.
But when we're sitting and drinking.
So sometimes maybe you should throw your wife in there so that it feel like it's a joint thing. That way you can do a lot of hangouts, because the truth is that's how money is made out of the office. Like, money is made out of the office more than in the office in Nigeria.
That's true.
So
you have to socialize.
Yeah, but if it's clubbing, I'm not sure.
But then, okay, so
work.
this is, I'm not sure if you're aware, right? What he's saying is really true. You have to go and network with the people. You have to meet them when they are comfortable. Now, I do know people that their own deal is that they bring the girls. That's their way of getting that person comfortable, right? So they have attractive women, and that one chooses, and it's like a favor to you, and that kind of thing. Does that happen abroad? You don't know?
Well, it depends.
You don't see that?
It depends what type of industry you're in.
Okay.
There are some industries where, I think people like being surrounded by beautiful women, people in general. So I think there are some events where you go to a party and there's, young, beautiful women everywhere, and that's just what it is. Like, the party was popping. So I wouldn't say it's just here. I do think in other places, the party culture is party culture.
Right.
And the problem is getting too deep into it is where you get into hot water,
So I really want to drill in on it, but I'm going to take a short break. Here's something I wanted to drill in on, was how do you stay in that environment where you're constantly networking and you're around these things constantly? You're constantly being surrounded by the women, the drinks, and calming down and networking, but how do you stay away from it? How do you not get polluted by what you're constantly staying in? But we'll be right back so we can answer this question. Hi, welcome back. This is still the When I Wanted Out talk show, and I'm here with my amazing guest. Before we went on the break, we were talking about how men can stay out of the scene that they are creating for themselves in order to, increase themselves financially or, across the social ladder. So, Ugo, what do you think? How do we stay out of it, even if we have to do it to get ahead?
Well, I'll use like a famous saying by saying, you always have a plan until you're punched in the mouth.
Okay.
So everybody all believes that you can sustain it. Well, it's very difficult. At one point, you get consumed by it.
Yes.
But the truth is, it's all down to strong will, which not just Nigeria, globally, not a lot of people have strong will to be doing something and it would not kind of reflect or change who they are.
Right.
So I feel like it's very possible, yes, for you to not get consumed by it. But it's all just your mentality, your mindset, and
but you can't stay in it too long, though.
It all depends. Also, if you carry your wife along, that's another way you can you can be in it
and be accountable to somebody. Yes, you're accountable.
Because now, if for example, it's a womanizing kind of event, I'm not saying I'm going to one. But when it's an event where your friend calls you up, let's go to this place.
Yes.
And you probably don't want to go, and sometimes some guys don't want to get rejection from both sides, where I'm saying, I tell a guy 3 times I don't want to go. So you're like, I'm calling my wife. Then you see, are you sure you want to come with her? Then that's when you kind of be like, they know, okay, if some of the events I'm calling my wife is coming, then they might now restrict you from coming
for those
some
events.
Of the other ones that sometimes men want to celebrate around beautiful women. It's normal. Every part of the world. Nobody wants an ugly person beside them. Even if to them they might be ugly, so they might be ugly, but to them they're beautiful. So that's irrespective. So how do you stop the person or the lady that's coming from having ulterior motives? Nobody knows. It can just be, let's go have drink and chill, and the lady is coming saying she's going to meet her destiny helper, her financial gainer. So you can't know that, and you can the inflation is going up globally. All right, so people are getting desperate because what they used to buy before for $1,
So how does
$1,
the man push
it's
back
not-
on that though?
He just has to find a way, if he's married, to bring his wife along. That way,
Okay. Keep his wife abreast,
keep his wife
be
abreast. Even
transparent.
if the wife is not coming, oh, this way I'm going to,
Be transparent,
I'm going to be home by this time. So that way it kind of keeps you
accountable.
up and going. So if it's something late, your wife calls, oh, where are you, Jigger?
Yeah.
And you know that by 11, I'm supposed to be out of here, or 12. Like, I have a specific thing where I know there's a certain time I want to start going home.
Yes.
That's my own thing. So whatever
So
is going on,
you're
I
keeping
just
yourself,
leave.
yeah, you're keeping yourself accountable by getting your wife involved in your goings.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to throw another thing right out at you here. The man kept saying that his wife could not tell him what to do, right? Because he's the man of the house. What is your take on that? What is your perception on that?
So at that point, I don't think it's a partnership in the marriage. If you're trying to have, it should be equal footing at some point, right? But if you're always trying to put this control, like, this is my money, this is my house, this is my thing, at that point, like, is this your partner in the relationship, or is this someone who works for you? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that no one should really have that mentality. Like, this is our house, this is our money, this is, our relationship, and we should work towards the betterment of it.
Yeah.
And then because once you start going there, that's when things start going downhill.
And I think a lot of men do that now. If they're angry and you're trying to push a point that they know is right, they know that what they're doing is wrong, and you're trying to tell them, and it's like, oh, it's my house, I pay the bills, I do that, and I agree. You start losing the idea of two of us are a team. It's what I want, and I think once I get into the situation, everything is I,
exactly,
me, myself, I. I think the marriage has started.
I would have an opinion on it.
Yes.
Because you can't tell me what to do. You have to first look at how did it start. Right?
Okay.
You have to take it back to our parents' generation.
Right.
The much older generation.
Right.
And if you look at their generation with our generation and the next generation, you see that the divorce rate is probably lower. From their generation, we're not divorcing at all. So we picked it up because we always probably heard it, our father saying, oh, this is my house.
Yes.
And we've seen that those guys did not divorce. It's better for worse till death do us pass. Why
But
us
the women were suffering.
Yeah, they were suffering, but they were suffering in silence.
Yeah.
But when our generation look at it, our parents probably didn't show us that suffering, but they were just taking it. So we thought it was a happy home, and we thought that's the best way to go.
Right.
While now there's more equal rights. The woman is the household owner, while the man just kind of plays a supporting role. So I think that's where our parents did not necessarily show us the suffering side. And we heard a lot of this word is my.
Yes.
And we now believe that this is the norm.
The norm.
But the truth is, it's an equal dispensation.
Right.
Democracy.
Thank you. You have my heart on that.
but that's because the women's rights are becoming more, and everybody's becoming more vocal about what they're suffering in their houses.
Yes.
And when you share it with people, they tell you, oh, you know what? Maybe you guys should go your separate ways. And people have been seeing ladies and men both ways live relationships, and they're thriving. As opposed to then when you see women leaving or they're more downgrading, they're suffering.
Yeah.
So, and that's all down to what the woman has done for herself. Because if she's not, if they stay-at-home wife, when you leave, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to stay-at-home wife without.
So now I think a lot of us are getting more handsy. We're building our careers. We're doing, as our moms may not really have pushed a career because they were taking care of the kids, which is why the men could suppress them more so. But now it's like, well, I have money too. You have money. But in some cases where the women don't have money, I think they need to find something to do. Keep yourself busy. Find something. Find a little job. Something. Start doing something so you build yourself up. I think this was really engaging. Thank you very much. What we've taken away, at least for here, is one, you guys need to have discussed some certain things about lifestyle before you got married. Like, what are we doing here? Going out 4 times a night, it didn't just happen after the marriage. It probably started before. This was what he was about. So you saw it and you wanted to change it. It would take time. But then again, ask the proper questions. Look out for these things that will bother you in the marriage. If you cannot continue it in the marriage, then discuss it before you get married. That's one. Two, in Nigeria, we have a lot of situations where the man has to go out on these activities, networking, partying, as a way to be able to curry favor or climb up the social ladder. And in some cases, he gets lost in the scene. But like Ugo said, carry your wife along from time to time to keep you accountable, be transparent about what you're going to do. Just have your partner as your accountability check. Last but not the least, we're in a dispensation where we're supposed to be talking things out. It's not about you, I'm the man of the house, you're the woman, you sit down where I tell you to sit, you stand up when I tell you to stand. You have to be able to come together as partners, to be able to discuss and come to a conclusive, decision as a couple, as partners, where we have agreed and we're abiding by what we have agreed. Compromises here and there, but in the end, communication, kind of speaking things out and sharing your position on things and, leaning in or leaning out. Thank you very much. Do you have anything you want to say to close?
No, the woman
will close it out. What do you want? Would you have anything?
Thank you so much for having us on the platform.
Thank you.
It's been really enlightening. I think it's good to see both perspectives where he's coming from on a topic that's super common. Like this is not a one-time thing. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. My name again is Kola-Edun. Please follow me on all my social media handles. We'll see you same time next week. Take care. Bye-bye.